turn to our guests. So you've heard the MP speak there. Any preliminary comments or anything you want to address in what he said, Dr. Bona?
Well, yes, thank you very much, and good morning to viewers. Good morning to my colleague. I think Honorable Ayariga spoke to a very large extent. He spoke well, but there are some issues that I thought probably he should have dealt with directly.
Such as?
Such as the ruling. Mm-hmm. Because I have looked for that ruling and looked for it and looked for it, and I can't find it anywhere. Okay. I have heard persons in authority speak about a ruling that presupposes that the issue of who is what has been settled. But what I rather have from the Supreme Court has to do with, some decree that, one of the groups went to court, and by the time they ended up in court, that particular decree, a PNDC decree, had been repealed. And so I am not sure.
You are not sure.
If that is what is purported to be the ruling. Because I have been looking for that ruling, and I thought probably he would tell us to go to the Supreme Court, go and pay for it. I would have paid for it, so that it will help me with the, when some of us are called to address this issue. And that probably is the crux of this unending conflict in Bawku.
But is it, I mean, the subtext of what I get from him is, this looks like it's even gone beyond chieftaincy. It's now an issue of criminality.
It's an issue of criminality.
People are, under the cloak of chieftaincy, attacking people, whether they're on one side or the other, or engaging in acts, not specifically because of ethnic issues, but it's cloaked in criminality.
Obviously, in every conflict, or in every, I wouldn't say war, in every conflict, there are those I call in security parlance conflictpreneurs. These are people who will smuggle in firearms, munitions, and what have you to sell. There are people who benefit largely from conflict. There are people who tend to settle scores, because then when, it gets to this stage, law enforcement becomes difficult. And so if you've ever, excuse me to say, chased my girlfriend, this is the time for me to come and, attack you. And I know that the law will not be anywhere to come after me. And so these are other issues we can look at. But let's...
The area.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Good morning to you, and good morning to our viewers and my senior brother here. First of all, I would like to respond to some of the issues that have been discussed already. And top on this is the issue of the Supreme Court ruling. And the Supreme Court's ruling, or alleged ruling, is so important that we need to ensure or find some finality to it. Some sort of clarity that everybody gets the understanding of what has been done. Because if we're not careful, that alone has a significant impact and shapes the conduct of both parties in dealing with this matter. So we have to be very careful about these things. I've been very, very interested in this matter for several years now. And in the last 1 year, I've looked everywhere for the Supreme Court's ruling. Unfortunately, there's anywhere that there is any document relating to the Supreme Court's ruling on the matter relating to who is the right chief, or, the legitimate chief of Bawku. What we actually have is a decision by the Supreme Court relating to a matter that, Dr. Bona mentioned, where one party went to court because there's the PNDC Law 75 contained a particular portion that barred one portion or one side of the conflict from becoming, chiefs of Bawku. And this was PNDC Law, around the early 1983. And so they were waiting to get a chance to go to court. And they've been preparing all along, since the 1980s through the 90s, to go to court and get that law repealed to allow them, to contest this chieftaincy, matter. Unfortunately, by the time they got to court, or whilst they were in the process, they got informed that in 1996, Constitution repealed that particular portion. And that, so there was no case, there was no reason to proceed with that matter. And in fact, my checks revealed that Nanado, Chambers,
yes, I have
his Chambers was involved in that. And subsequently, there was another law firm called Brooks and Emisa and Co. that actually got the final decision, got the processes through the Supreme Court. So the Supreme Court actually made that decision in April of 2003. Mind you, this is a very, very politically politicized matter along NDC, MPP. So they waited till NPP came to power. They went to court seeking to